All right, so we are back for part 2 of the endurance race. Got my hands off the steering wheel there for a moment. That's all right, it'll give second place a chance to catch up. We're now racing in the rain, and we've gone with the full wet tires. And here at JCCR Racing, we're going to be covering the tips to driving in the rain and to getting the 1.5 million credits for the Spa endurance race. That's the Circuit de Spa Francorchamp. So stay tuned, watch then to get all the tips, to get your easy credits, and also a little chit chat on different vehicles. A few tips on what vehicles work best online and offline. Now we went with the full wets, and if it dries up, this will have been a mistake. So first tip, keep an eye on the weather. We'll talk about what speed to go, braking and all that. But let's check this out here. Radar, don't need it anymore, I'm in first. And some pretty late braking there. Now here, I don't want to put it to the floor. I can if I'm in fourth, obviously, but in second, I'm also going to shift earlier because I don't want the tires to spin. And I've also turned traction control to 5 for the rain. Now you can see the car starting to turn and slide there. That's because I went a little too deep into the pedal, so half braking is more appropriate when the track is really wet. Quarter braking and brake way in advance. I don't need the radar, so keeping an eye on the weather, because full wets are great for when it's full rain and a very wet track. Because if the rain were to cut off, even if it's just for one lap, those wets will wear really, really quickly. So you don't want to put them on too early. And if you are going to do a tire swap early, because let's say you start the race on softs, we couldn't because we have a GT or GR2 car, either a GR2 or a GT2, that we've tuned down. And the great advantage of this with the GR2 GTR is the handling is just incredible. Now it's still, because we tuned it down, the power actually came down lower than if we would have had a GR3 car, because we could have been running at about 780 horsepower, and that's really not what we're running now. So if you watch part 1, you'll see getting the first was a challenge. We didn't have it on speed. We were being often beaten on the straightaways. Other cars were faster with their extra power, but I was just passing people with ease in the turns, and it removed the possibility of, well, having a spin out. Now the GTR's chances of having a spin out, because you're going on the curbs or touching a little bit of grass, are pretty slim, and its chances of even spinning out in the rain due to over braking, you have a lot more leniency. It's a lot more forgiving. It's much more of a beginner option to tune down the GR2 car, GTR, because it's very forgiving. So what I want to do is, when I am full throttle, it's because it's either not raining hard, like right now the rain has kind of stopped mostly, or it's because I'm in a higher gear. I don't want to be in first or second, high RPM. You can see there, took the curb with the curb being filled with water. I'm not having issues. Even the braking's still stellar. The track isn't soaked. Be honest here, I wouldn't call this a soaked track, and actually right now it's starting to get, as we move forward, drier and drier, or just less wet, I should say. Not dry, but it's just less wet, and that will cause the tires, these full wets, to wear really, really quickly. So I'm going to be easy on the throttle, and I'm thinking intermediate tires would have been better, because I do believe second is catching up. So let's see how it holds here. Held pretty decently. So we know next lap, if it doesn't start to rain again, we can go through a little quicker. So racing like in life, you make mistakes, you make adjustments, you observe your mistakes, you observe your success, and you fine tune, you make little adjustments or big adjustments depending how big of the success or how big of the failure. So trying to hunt the apex here, going over the apex from one outside candy cane to another. And in the rain, you definitely want to be easier on the brake and throttle, especially when the steering wheel is turned. Get down in the correct gear. So I'm now seeing that I can drive faster, but I don't fully desire to drive faster because I don't want to wear down the tires too quickly, because I would think the rain would come back. We need to zoom in here, getting into the correct gear to help hold the line. Now, if the goal here is to get credits and not just finish, you know, a minute ahead of second place and risk spinning out and getting passed, all I have to do is keep an eye on my 6.3 seconds ahead of second. And when it goes down, I know I need to drive a little faster. And when it goes up, and it will go up, the second's gonna start driving faster, because you can see we now have much less wet pathway to follow. I know it's a little harder to see at night. Now I'm not gonna go in and switch to the intermediates, because I wanna see, is it gonna start raining really hard again? And even if it doesn't, once these tires are used, then I'll go in and switch the tires, because there's nothing wrong with driving on wets except if they're worn. So you see, there is some rain coming on the way. So from the outside to the inside, and then ease into the throttle, because when the steering wheel is turned, if you're either full brake or full throttle when the steering wheel is turned significantly, you will overturn significantly, maybe spin right out. So I see I need to drive just a little faster. Second was catching up. I've gotten it back to in the 6 second zone. So we'll just work to balance that and keep it in the 6 second zone. Get in the correct gear. And I'm really not full throttling. I'm not doing pedal to the metal action. So no full throttle down like I like to do. I'm being patient, braking, half braking, using the motor, the engine braking to help slow me down. So you need to be driving in manual. I've got the paddle shifts for that. You'll see that when I race online and live. Brake at the 50, turn in. So I'm not full, I am full throttling, because oddly, my pedal doesn't need to be completely to the floor. So I need to I'd like to be able to adjust the pedal. But like here, not just partial pedal or trying to partial pedal. Very sensitive pedals, barely need to press them in to be full pedal. I don't know if my spring's broken or whatnot, but if you're having the same issue, you might want to look at your pedals. I think I've got a spring to switch. So when I press down on the accelerator pedal, it makes a clunking noise. Let me know if your pedals make that noise. Maybe it's just normal, but I doubt it. So the map shows us it's going to be light for another little bit, and then we're going to go through a period of really heavy rain. So keeping the wets on, not pushing the car too hard, not going as fast as we could, because there's, you know, what are we going to gain? 3 seconds a lap? Over 3 laps we'll be 9 seconds ahead, but pushing the car will use the tires excessively and force us to go back in for another set of wets, and we'll have a 50-second pit stop. So I'm not gonna gain 9 seconds. Now I don't have to worry, the track's wet, the wet tires won't wear nearly as much. We're gonna have a nice wet track here, perfect for these tires. And unfortunate for the competition that put intermediate tires on, they won't be able to drive as fast. Nothing behind, 9.8 seconds ahead. So Gran Turismo 7 tips or simulator racing tips. If it's wet, brake in advance, partial brake, use the a quarter to half pedal depending how wet the track is, and use engine braking. You can see for throttle, I'm being careful not to jerk the pedal. I'm slowly getting into it. For the accelerator, same thing for the brakes. You've got either good headphones or good speakers, you'll hear the tires. They'll talk to you. You can listen to the tires and you can really tell left driver side tires versus passenger side tires. So the GTR is just fantastic with the weather. Really, I'm having the greatest of ease of all the cars I've driven in the rain. This has the greatest use of ease. So if you're looking for a great car, just a fantastic car for the Spa endurance race, no need to look no further. You've got the Nissan GTR GT500. Could still do that a little faster, but really trying to make these wets last, because I'm not sure what's going on, but it's showing me the weather. If you look at the bottom of the right screen, that's our little weather map. And then what are we supposed to, you know, get from the fact that it is all black? Odd. So the track's back to being wet but not soaked. So once again, you need to adjust your driving and you need to ask yourself, what do I need my current tires to do? And if you're on the wet tires and the track has, you know, done a good job of evacuating the water, I do not want to push it hard right now. If I think it's gonna rain again, but I'm starting, you know, sometimes we see the weather maps out, you got to do it the good old-fashioned way. Look up and say, you know what, I can see stars and I'm not seeing a whole lot of clouds. I think the weather is over. Let us know in the comments, should we go in for some intermediate tires, or do we go straight to racing? If I could have racing soft, I'd consider, well, I'd probably go more racing medium. And something we can do is, now that we know we're gonna be switching tires sooner than later, put the fuel ratio right down. And I'm sorry, I can't drive fast and switch the settings, and the reason for that is I've got my secondary controller set up. Well, not set up, it's on and it's taking care of those adjustments. I don't have that set up on my Ferrari F1 style racing steering wheel. I'm running right now Thrustmaster T GT2. We love the metal pedals, love the feeling of the springs, the resistance, love the torque in the steering wheel. Start off with the T150, great starter wheel, not too expensive, really not expensive at all. Not cheap. It's inexpensive, not cheap. You can see right there, that's a good lesson. That 20th position that we're going to be lapping taught us. The sides are still very, very wet. The curbs, or the candy canes as I like to call them, the red and yellow markers, are going to be the last to dry, and they're going to stay very wet. Sorry, Ford GT, you're beautiful, but I need to pass you. Oh, he's gonna cut me on the inside. Oh, no thank you, friend. No thank you, you're being lapped, you know, just hang back. So now the track's dry enough that we can be more aggressive with the brake and accelerator pedals. I know the racing hards should last 20 minutes, and these wets will not last 5 more minutes. So next lap, we're gonna go in and we're gonna swap tires. Let me know in the comment section what would be your tire choice here. See if we've got the map back. When we come out, when the pavement's dry, we're gonna go back to traction control 1 or 2. These are beginner tips and tricks. So obviously if we're a pro, if we were racing A, we would be driving on traction control 0. So people just switched off their intermediate tires, and it can also explain why with relative ease we're getting better times than they were. So we need your input. We're gonna go for a family walk, and in the meantime, if you watch this in between we're back on to finish the race, please let us know what tires do we go with. Look at these track conditions. It's drying out, the stars are in the sky, we've got, you know, nothing, the map is black, so I'm gonna assume that with the stars in the sky and not too many clouds, the rain is done. So yeah, the curbs are wet, but the GTR is not really phased by it very much at all. The 911 would have a lot of issues in regards to spinning out when the curbs are full wet. So we're coming in a nice time to drive. We're going to be driving into the morning here. Hope to see you back. Like, subscribe. Please help this small family business out here at JCCR Racing. We've got a sister channel, Johnny's Car Care and Reviews, where we're long-term testing 2 classic Porsches, Porsche 911s. So let us know. We will be right back, folks. Thank you so much for watching.